ignition in 5, 4, 3.
We good? We live? Hello? Hello? Okay, yeah, we're here. Hello, and Best Friend Cat here. Welcome back. We are almost through with the day. We're back with ripWSB playing God's Trigger Any Percent. As you know, we're supporting direct relief with COVID efforts, and we're almost at the $1,000 mark. That's nuts. It's only been 2 days.
Yeah.
Only been 2 days. Yeah. All right, well, Rip, you know what to do. Take it away, buddy.
All right. Thank you very much. What's up, everybody? I'm Rip, WSB, obviously. This is God's Trigger, as was stated just moments before. Let's just go ahead and get into it, because it's time. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this is any percent. It's more like a kind of new game plus, because we have abilities that are all maxed out at this point. It definitely helps make the game a little bit easier to play through. But yeah, since this is any percent, we're going to be doing a lot of crazy out of bounds stuff, skipping a lot of the bosses actually. Out of the 5 like main bosses, we'll be seeing 2 of them. But yeah, the first couple levels are prologue. You get a little bit of story and kind of how to play the game. So there's not much here. There is an out of bounds for this particular level, but it doesn't really save any time. So we'll just kind of play through normally. The basic story of this game is this character, Harry, he's a fallen angel. And he teams up with a demon that's kind of been cast out of hell, I guess. And together they are trying to save the world from a crazy angel that is bent on kind of utter destruction by bringing on the apocalypse. So we will be going after the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and trying to stop him. But this is kind of a flashback from the future or something. It'll make sense later on, but we're in heaven currently. And then we kind of go back in time to see what led up to this. So the first horseman we are going after is Pestilence. And so we have to go around looking for information. So apparently Pestilence in human form is this actor, well-known actor. So we are trying to gather some information about his whereabouts by interrogating all his demons on Earth. Try not to die again. So this game can be pretty frustrating sometimes. It's kind of one hit, you're dead. So the main thing we'll be doing is trying to avoid dying. That was close. There are a couple checkpoint kind of manipulations we can do, but for the most part, it's just trying not to die and trying to get out of bounds pretty well in the levels that require that. So we played through a couple levels. I think the next level we will be doing some out of bounds stuff. And that'll all be done with Judy. She has a teleportation ability that allows to kind of sneak through the cracks of the game physics. So we will see that coming up, hopefully. Harry's good for the combat, and he's got an invisibility ability that we will be using quite often. But we'll be using this little corner here to hopefully pop out of bounds. There we go. And this just allows us to obviously go around all the enemies that we would have to fight. I think this level in particular is actually quicker if you do it how it's supposed to be done, but it's also pretty frustrating. So I'm just going to take the easy route, maybe lose a couple seconds. And yeah, so there's going to be a lot of that. If you don't like out of bounds and walking through darkness, then this run might not be your favorite, but hopefully it's still a fun run. We got a couple of levels here with Harry that are inbounds and just playing through naturally, so hopefully that'll make up for the out of bounds that was just witnessed. We can avoid these guys. Avoiding guys with guns and knives is definitely the way to go, either casually or in the speedrun, so I recommend that. But we will be using Harry's ability, the invisibility right here, to just kind of sneak past all these guys. You have to kill a certain number of people to fill up the meter on the bottom right or bottom left directions. And once you fill that up to a certain point, you get to use that ability. So the screen before levels has where you can spend points, and that's where you level up your character up to level 30. and you gain points that you can distribute to different abilities and how you want to set them up. So everybody has their own little way of doing things. I have mine kind of distributed somewhat evenly. There are certain things that you have to kind of compromise on for playstyle. Uh-oh. Ooh, that was a bad one. Yeah, sometimes the checkpoint respawns could be a little unforgiving. See if we can get through this time. There we go. This one's always a little interesting. Okay, I was invisible, but still got sniped, so I'll give credit where credit is due. And then this part we kind of hugged up top, just below the screen limit, and then hopefully these guys won't be able to really attack us before we can take them out. It has kind of been giving me trouble lately, so hopefully we'll get through this in one go. But not too much to this level besides just staying alive. That was a little tricky. Yeah, and once we there's certain times in the game where we activate this slow motion, and it just helps us move around and avoid the baddies. But yeah, we got a couple levels coming up with Judy. So all this time we found Pestilence, and we're kind of tracking him down. He's given us the run around. It's a pretty cool boss fight that we're going to be skipping for him, unfortunately. But it is it's kind of funny because you can see a bunch of Pestilences in the next level, just like hanging out, waiting for the boss fight that we just completely bypassed. So we'll see if we can see that in just a second. But getting back in bounds in this game, as you could see, you can, once you get past a certain point, you kind of drop off the stage. And so you need to gain the height to access these in-level triggers. So by, oh boy, this could be tricky. By knocking these guys down, or trying to. Come on, buddy. Yep, that was gonna happen. So by not doing that, but hitting, you can knock the guy over, and then if you teleport into them and hit triangle at the same time, it's this kind of stealth kill. And that brings Judy back into the level on the same plane as everything else. So we'll try that again. This is kind of tricky because if you dash into that, there we go, into the barrel, it explodes. So that one's always a bit risky. Didn't quite go as planned the first time, but one of the instances of the checkpoint not being super great for the out of bounds right there. So this is Pestilence, the boss fight. We won't exactly be doing this fight normally. Instead, we're just going to see if we can pop out of bounds right here. There we go. Take a little bit of... And some of these can be kind of tricky trying to get out. There are somewhat of a setup, but it's still kind of hit or miss. You just got to get that right dash and hope it pops you out. So up above here, you see all the Pestilences just hanging out. When you fight him, you fight a bunch of them and they come at you in waves. Unfortunately, we just kind of skip all that. But that takes us to chapter 2. So we defeat Pestilence, even though we didn't really see him. And we are on our way to try and track down Famine. And so we're kind of making our way through these creepy dungeon catacombs. And I think this level's pretty much played as intended. We do pop through the wall coming up here. We have to unlock a few levers to get a bridge to extend. Let me through. Oh, don't kill me, please. And luckily that was a decent checkpoint. So we do a couple levers to get the bridge mostly extended, and then I think there's 3 to make it fully extended. We hit 2 of the levers to go far enough, and then with Judy's dash, we're able to dash to the very last one. So we do a checkpoint restart there to kind of put us back in the area we need to be in. Try and catch this quarter and just teleport across, and that's that level. And then coming up, we have another hopefully quick level with some out of bounds. This particular one is kind of scary because you dash your way into a room that's full of enemies, and depending on kind of when they notice you, there's a bit of a little time window where you can't damage everybody because you're above kind of the level of everybody else. Uh-oh. Yep. And that's what happens. So if you get into that second room and you're not at a decent spot and the enemies are not at a... Let me through. Oh, no, 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 not again. I hate this room so much. Okay, there we go. Not too bad, but obviously not ideal. So they can, it feels like they can sometimes attack you before you can attack them. But I guess that's the price to pay if you're kind of circumventing the traditional route of the room. So get our girl Judy here. Sometimes you can clip through this wall right there. It's a little bit tricky. It just saves a little bit of time instead of waiting for that weird beast thing to go through the wall. It was supposed to do that the first time. So we'll try not to die here. So it saves a couple of seconds. If you can get it the first try, it saves a lot more time. And then what we'll be doing is trying to dash into this kind of fallen column and then carefully walk up the side of it. It's just got enough of an incline that we can kind of walk our way up. This is one of the kind of controller only sections where it's the angle that you have to hold the left joystick is just far enough that you can't really do it with keyboard. But yeah, just making our way through chapter 2. This level will be completely done as intended. And the no out of bounds category of this game is pretty insane. It's a lot of well played gameplay. Obviously, you've got to avoid all the enemies and do all the tasks quickly while not getting killed by everything that is trying to finish the job. So we're just kind of making our way through here. We use Judy to teleport through these iron bars. Harry the angel can kind of dash through breakable walls, so they each have their own little like individual surfaces that they can go between. I'm not gonna get it. Nope. Try to do it. If you get through the rest of this chapter or level quickly enough, you can make a good cycle on these spikes that come up. Just missed it on that one, so we'll take the L, the momentary L, and then kind of go invisible, make it past these guys, because all we need to do is come into these egg sacs at the very end. This chapter, I think even if you could get out of bounds, you have to destroy all these egg sacs before the in-level trigger will appear, so there's not too much that we can do with this one. But that brings us to the final boss, Famine, which we are just going to kind of skip entirely. So by getting out here, oh, that was a decent one. We skip her. This one, I think Savinov found this one recently. There's been a couple new finds. Otherwise, all these skips, I think for the most part, were found by a runner named Spoiled Freckle, who just kind of like destroyed this game. So all of this is from just a few individual runners, but that brings us to chapter 3. And in chapter 3, we're going to be going after Death, which is kind of like this drug-dealing biker guy. So we're going into his biker bars looking for information on him. Let's see if we can get this. There we go. Harry's sword can deflect bullets, so that last little bit where you try and dash, you got the two gunners up top. That can be kind of tricky if you don't get that slash at the very right second. Their bullets hit you, and it's just, you got to do that one room over. Luckily, you get a pretty good checkpoint, so it's not too bad, but still can be kind of annoying. Choose right character. This one, we're just going to be kind of finding a corner down here to get out of bounds. Sometimes it works first try. I thought we were out. So we just kind of keep dashing until it pops Judy out. There we go. And kind of just circumnavigate this whole level real quick. Find the that in-level trigger is a little bit hidden. There's a couple of those like that. So I can only imagine the fun it was trying to find, once you got out of bounds, how to get back in, or either find the in-level trigger. There are a couple levels where there has been some out of bounds found, but there's no way to get back in bounds, unfortunately. So that's a pretty frustrating thing, but we'll try another out of bounds pretty quick here. This optimization was found relatively recently by Michel Dars. He found a couple of really cool things. Come on, Judy. Girl. So this is a bit tricky. The previous way to get out of bounds was further on in the level. This may not be saving a whole lot of time anymore. But there we go. A little bit tricky to get out of bounds in that one. The kind of game environment pushes you around and eventually you pop out, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's just a matter of finding your way out of bounds to the in-level trigger there. So then we have a level coming up where it's Judy. So that level we just finished, there's a sniper that's supposed to kind of have you in their sights the whole level. Since we skip all of that, you don't really see it. So we killed the sniper the previous level, and Judy is now in charge of the sniper rifle. Oh, cool. So she'll be... Oh, come on, guys. Leave me alone. So she'll be in charge of that. We will use her in a little bit, but for now, we just kind of make our way through with Harry to this final room. And then these little flamethrower guys, they kind of suck, so we're just going to blow them up with Judy on the sniper rifle. Take out these last couple guys. Come on, dude. Don't shoot me, please. If he shoots you, it resets this whole room and can be kind of annoying. So that wasn't too bad. But this brings us to one of the 2 boss fights that we will fight. We are going to take on Death himself. He's got a scythe, and this one, there's a way to kind of contain him in this little corner. If you pick a corner, he has this throwing ability, and we just kind of make our way around that, try and avoid his attacks. The checkpoints are far and few between in here. I think he's pretty much got the 3 phases. Like, I think most of the bosses have the 3 phase kind of set up, or at least 3 phases. So we're just kind of avoiding this, just trying to keep him close. So the less he has to kind of teleport around, the quicker that will go. Then it's just a matter of destroying these skulls. And then once we take out the skulls, that'll be a checkpoint. So if anything happens, we at least have that checkpoint. There we go. And then it's pretty much just a small adaptation of the attack earlier. He'll throw 2, circle around like that, and we just kind of shoot out Judy's chain at him after he gets tired. Kind of has to recharge. But this is pretty much all we're doing for this fight. Again, one of the 2 boss fights that we will see. We do get these little skulls that pop up here. So you take those out and then do the old do-si-do. Oh, there we go. Helps to hit him. So it can be a little frustrating getting hit right here at the very end because you have to do this whole section again, but see if we can make it. Just avoid him 3 more times. Whoop. Take a little bit of a long turn, that one. But that is Death. Now, this is the one chapter where there's a level after the boss fight. And I think in this level, you're supposed to set all of his drugs on fire because he's a kind of a drug kingpin. So instead of that, we're just going to pop out of bounds with Judy and circumnavigate this level. Okay, that wasn't too bad. This one's a little bit tricky because there are carts that move around in the level and they can kill you when you're out of bounds. So it's a matter of kind of finding your way out of bounds without getting too close to the level. And we'll be working our way. And it's tough because you can't see your character in this one. Some of the other levels you can see your character. So there's a spot right there that triggers a little bit of a cutscene. We finally put an end to Death, and as his kind of warehouse catches flames, we make our escape. So that brings us to chapter 4. This is one of my favorites. There's a lot of out of bounds. This is also where a lot of runs die that are PB attempts. So hopefully this one goes pretty well. The first level is pretty straightforward. We're just playing as Harry. It should be a quick level. Hopefully that did not jinx this. It's one where if you there's like a awareness bar that fills up, and if they spot you and that fills up before you take out whoever spotted you, you have to restart. So luckily that went decently smoothly, and that brings us to one of 3 out of bounds. Actually, I guess the rest of chapter 4 is going to be out of bounds. But so Judy is definitely the MVP of chapter 4, and we are trying to find War, which we will skip again. All right, this one can be kind of annoying. There we go, not too bad. So we kind of use the game, the environment geometry to push us out of bounds there. And this one we have to kill one of the guards that has a key card. So we're going to drop down out of the playing field coming up here and then work our way back. We can still attack people when we're out of bounds and underneath the playing field. So we kill him, grab his key card, because we can still, when we dash, we have a brief moment where we're in bounds. Oh, there we go. And then we do our stealth kill there to get back in bounds, where we can make it to the trigger right there. And we'll be doing kind of the same here, where we get out of bounds, drop down, and then are able to hit a button to open an elevator, then dash right into that. So this one can be kind of annoying too. Take out that guy to give us some space. Okay, that was a really actually pretty decent out of bounds right there. That one can be a bit tricky. All of the chapter 4 ones are pretty straightforward as to like what you need to do. It's just a matter of being able to get out of bounds. So I will definitely take that. And then once we get down, we need to find the elevator. So we do the teleport and action button at the same time, and bada bing bada boom. So this next one can be, this one is definitely the run killer of all 3 of these. There's a couple ways to get out of bounds. We'll try and get the classic way. So I got a bit of a setup that sometimes works. Alright, so it did pop us out the normal way, so we'll try. Sometimes you can just walk right out here. That's unfortunate. So we'll try the setup again. Sometimes these, okay, there we go. The pipes will like kind of push you out of bounds once you get above that surface right there. So we have to kill this one guy down here and then teleport into the elevator. And there we go. So that brings us to War, the boss fight. And we are going to take advantage of a checkpoint and restart once we activate the boss fight itself, which this is PC only. In the console version you can, ooh, that was close, you can do the checkpoint restart, but unfortunately these gates that move up and down don't move up and down. So what we need to do is get on the very end of this, which is harder than it needs to be. We kind of ride the wall with our extra height and try and get out with Judy, and then we'll just kind of clip through the wall here and make our way around the War boss fight. So as long as we don't trigger that fight, we're not kind of bound by the window, the camera angles, and then we just kind of make our way through to the in-level trigger, and that's chapter 4 in War that you don't get to see, which is actually a shame because she's a pretty cool boss. She's this big beefy like war machine, which I guess you'll see in a little bit because we now we're in heaven. We've destroyed the 4 horsemen and we're going after Gabriel himself. So we free the horsemen because something to do with the story, he needed their powers to like help power him up, Gabriel, the crazy angel. So we release all of them and then they kind of help us take him down. So they all get their revenge on Gabriel and we try and do our thing. So we're just gonna pop out of bounds after a little enemy interactions and dash our way to the end. So if you're a big fan of lava, this one's for you. Shout out to all the volcanoes out there. And then the end trigger is somewhere in here, so once you walk past it you get this dialogue, and then a few seconds later it'll bring up the end level. So that one's a pretty cool one. And a lot of these tricks have been, they start out with getting out of bounds like later on the levels, and then like Freckle, he's found a lot of ways to get out of bounds earlier and easier. So it's just been crazy watching the progress and the progression of how this game in this category is gone down and down and down and down. The last new finds, the famine skip, saved a good minute or so, and that was a big one. There's been some smaller optimizations by Michel Dars. I think I found one for the war skip or out of bounds where it's just a slight optimization, but everybody's been kind of finding little things here and there, and it's really been cool to see that one come down. So big shout outs to everybody that has found some cool stuff. Shout outs to the not out of bounds runners that also do some really cool things. So I'm going to try and use, there we go, Judy's ability. That one took a little bit. So she has this kind of explosion ability that we've used throughout the run. All right, there we go. Sometimes getting these stealth kills to get back in the level can be a bit of a pain, but yeah, we are just making our way through heaven, making our way to Gabriel. We have a cool little out of bounds coming up here where this one's like one of the few where Harry can actually do it. And what we will be doing is getting to a point where we can interact with a gate that comes down. And if we are just in the right spot, and I think it's like this is like the only door that kind of works this way. If we get in the right spot, okay, that was close. We can ride it up with Harry and just kind of walk our way right out of bounds. So then we just dash our way. This is where you get to see War a little bit and see kind of what she has going for. This is a really fun game to play casually. It's challenging in a fun way. You can play it co-op, so you can play it and somebody can be Judy and somebody can be Harry. That's fun, but also very difficult. That's how I played it first with Siebes 5. She was nice enough to play with me. May have regretted that decision, but we made it through finally. Definitely took longer than these runs take these days, but that's how it goes. But yeah, so War's trying to destroy the store, and we're just kind of keeping these crazy angels off of her. We'll use Judy's explosion ability here to take some out. And then one more wave of angels, and that should be this level. So we're coming up. We got one more level, and then the final boss fight, Gabriel, which is a pain in the butt. But we'll see how it goes. He's got some kind of rough checkpoints in that fight, so it either goes well or it doesn't. You know how that goes. But we got one more level where we can get out of bounds with Judy. And then from there on, it's just going to be fighting to take down the big bad angel. So this one's like this big rotating maze of a clock type of thing. But instead of going and interacting with all that, we're just going to get out of bounds. There's 4 levers we need to turn. So by teleporting and activating at the same time, we can pop in for an instant just to turn those. So we'll get one more, and this part is also can be very frustrating. Sometimes the camera, where is it? There you go. Doesn't play nice. If we get a camera that expands out, it makes this part a little easier, but okay. So that's kind of best case scenario as far as the camera goes, and then it's just a matter of not dying. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, try this again. This is where things go south pretty quick. There's a lot of bullets flying around, and a lot of guys doing there's one angel that does that spinny attack, and once they start, you cannot avoid it. So I have died to that one more times than I would like to admit. You got a couple angels that have shields. You got stuff in the way that kind of prevents you from moving around. So hopefully we can just take these guys out. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. The dying at the very end is very demoralizing. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I'll take it. Not completely smooth, but didn't take an extra minute than it needed to. But that brings us to the final boss, Gabriel. He's got the classic 3-phase. The first phase I find to be pretty annoying. You have these rotating balls of death, like little force field type things. You have to avoid Gabriel as he flies in a couple times, and then he lands, and then that's when you can attack him. And you do that 3 times, and then that'll take care of phase 1. So we dodge him twice, then we wait for him to dive bomb us. Hopefully not get a weird glitch where Harry gets stuck, and we got the weird glitch. That's cool. Love that. That doesn't, it's not a pain in the butt. So we will do this 4 times then. So now we go back to our angel dodging for a couple tries. Does his little flyby, and then he'll do his land. And I don't know why Harry gets stuck on that first time he lands, but it happens quite often. But it's just a matter of waiting till he does this phase, and then you just lose, 10 to 15 seconds, but it is what it is. Not much we can do about it now, except hopefully not take any deaths and then reset this whole thing. So try and play it relatively safe. But one more of these. Try not to get... Sometimes when it brings in these little red, I don't know, like auras of death, it'll kind of just spawn right where you are, and it's kind of cheap, but it is what it is. So we'll try and get him up here, and that is for the next phase. So this next phase will be reflecting. He shoots out these like power orbs. The blue ones you can hit back and they damage his shield. The yellow ones you can't hit back and they will actually block the blue ones. So if he shoots out a blue one, you hit it back and it hits a yellow one, it negates that. So we're trying not to die and trying to... Ooh, okay, play this safe. There we go. And then we use Judy to kind of chain him down, and then Harry will slash away. So let's see if we can get lucky here. These are pretty random. Okay, not bad. Not a bad cycle. And then that'll bring us to phase 3. So time is coming up shortly. We got one more phase. He's still got some juice left in the tank, and then Harry and Judy decide to kind of fuse together, and so we're playing as this weird mix of both. So we have this last little phase where he does this 3 times. He'll shoot out these rings that you just kind of dash through, and then he shoots out one wave that you dodge, shoots out another wave where you can hit a blue back. Alright, so time is coming up once we hopefully not die this part. If we do die, then time is not coming up, but let's see how it goes. So we get one more wave of stuff coming out. Hit that one back, don't get killed. Alright, and then that should be time. But yeah, that's God's Trigger 80%. God's Trigger, get out of bounds and skip boss percent, basically. But yeah, big shout out to all the tech people helping this marathon out. Big shout out to all the runners. Big shout out, huge shout out to everybody been donating. That's insane to see the total raised, and it's just a couple, like a day and a half into this thing, and it's just through the roof.
Pretty good. Thank you so much for your run, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say? I don't mean to like jump on you there.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. If you're interested in the game, check out the Discord. There's not a lot of runners, but they're all really good people, and it's a pretty fun game. But yeah, just thanks.
Thanks. Right. Well, we'll be returning to intermission for a minute or 2 while we set up the next runner. Thank you guys for watching so far, and be back shortly when we switch. Any day now.